Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought on another fantastic group of independent creators. I mean, this is one of the best groups. We don't have JD Rosario on, so I'm a little sad about that. But you know, he's tied up. So you know, maybe next week we'll see what happens. But without further ado, please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. There's a lot of great creators to get to. A lot of great information we're going to try to discuss today. So we'll see. Without further ado, here is my guest co-host, Mr. Mark. How you doing?
Hello, everybody. How's it going? This is Mark Torres with the Came From Radio, the official show of the Big Apple Con. I am happy to be guest co-hosting. I'm moonlighting out of my own gig.
All right, there you go. If you got any websites, man, pop them.
Oh, as we always say, it's easiest. Just look up It Came From the Radio. Google It Came From the Radio. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can actually hear our show. It's over in 40 podcast places. We're also on an actual radio station. If you guys are terrestrial radio, you can hear us there. We are a weekly radio, syndicated radio show. So just make sure check us out. And we have a new show each and every week starting on Monday.
There you go. What's up, StoryCon? And here's our co-host, Mr. Joe D. McPhee. What's up, Joe?
2 weeks straight here. I'm back again. As you already may know, I just got through finishing up my show yesterday for the Nadesto Small Press Publisher. Every Saturday evening, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern. Pretty much we do a little bit of everything, and I'm here on Indy Comics Explained just to help out.
There you go. Exactly.
So, Joe, do you have the nickname CC Joe?
No.
No.
No. On some occasions, he's also JD because you know.
Right.
Yes. When you have the two JDs, yes.
Yes. Sometimes we have 3 JDs. Today we're just down to the 2. All right. And then we also have Mr. Kenny. How you doing, Kenny?
Hi. How's it going?
We're good.
Good. I'm Kenny Aitken. I am the creator of Apex Cybernetic Samurai Owl. It's a comic series about a cybernetic samurai owl. And I just do various art things and comic book things, stuff like that. I got a bunch of other stuff that hopefully I'll get around to some point and get it, published or put it out on Kickstarter or something.
All right, cool. Well,
I am hearing an echo. Does somebody have their speakers on?
Yeah, that might be me because, of course, why be prepared when you can just, not be. All right, but let me pull out Mr. Lanning. How are you, sir?
Hey, how's everybody tonight? I'm C. Michael Lang, independent artist. I've been working for Arrow Comics and other places. Of course, you can find me on Linktree. That'll take you to my Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Don't ask me what my Twitter handle is. That's why I got a Linktree. So.
Speaking of Linktree,
I don't have a link tree. I have a link forest.
There you go.
I'm Meredith Loughran, you guys. I am the co-founder of Ragin ABC, as well as a author of the Compendium of Dread. It is an anthology of horror and dark fiction. Lots of fun. Working on my comic book journey as well. More to come about that. And yes, my link forest is MEREJ99, like you see here, and RaginAVC.com.
Nice. There you go. Always prepared. That's what I like about Meredith. What's up, Mr. JM? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? All right, so I am JM DeSantis, writer, artist, creator of Chadiana, which I'm running a Kickstarter for right now. And, oh man, my cat's already just about to come up. So I'm going to try to pet her and keep her down there. Yeah, so, you can find all of my stuff on jmdesantis.com. I've got my Redbubble store, the Kickstarter links, and links to all my books and comics, because I both write prose and comic books and do art for both. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Cool.
Hey, JM, you said you're starting a Kickstarter right now, right?
I have started. It is 10 days in.
So you can say that if you want the cat to eat and live, you must support the Kickstarter.
Right. Yes. If you want that cat, this cute little cat that always keeps my camera dusted and everything else, you want her to live, little Cirilla here. you must donate money to my
What do you say to people who don't like cats, though? I like cats; they're cool, but I mean, there's some haters out there.
That's okay. Forget those people.
Somebody had to ask. Right?
Look, I'm a dog person too. I grew up with dogs, but
The dog didn't make it.
I can't have dogs where I'm living. Actually, that's the thing.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And without further ado, here's Mr. KJ. What's up, Mr. Murphy?
What's up? You doing?
Cat ass.
Come on down. Come on down.
Turn around. I'm not going to say anything about that because I don't know what to say, actually. KJ Murphy, Guildworks Publications. We're working on a book, Road to Valhalla, right now. And I think John's supposed to be on too. And yeah.
All right, cool.
Oh, actually, one thing because I remembered KJ was going to be on here. This is actually KJ's over there. Yeah, that's a really nice piece he did for me.
Nice.
And also, yes, I would support his book as well. Well, I am supporting it, but I mean, you should support it as well. Because, yeah. No, I am supporting it. I am supporting
Thank
it.
you.
But yeah, first issue was really good, so I want to keep seeing those. So yeah,
We're gonna keep making them.
Valhalla, put money in his campaign and feed my cat by putting money on mine.
Right. Feed the cat. Feed the cats.
Feed the cats. That's it. And it's like what I say with my campaigns, which will be starting tomorrow, the Oswald Chronicles. I got artists to feed. So if you want, feed an artist, man. Feed an artist.
They're always starving. They're very starving.
Exactly. So all right, so let's get this show on the road. For the first question, I got this one from a buddy of mine, Brian Rodman. He was on last week. He's not on this week, so this was a tribute to him. He said he had posted up that someone was complaining that he was posting too much up about his campaign, that he was promoting too much. He was talking too much about himself, and they were just sick of it, right? So is it possible to promote too much? And if you have someone that complains, what do you tell them?
Somebody's always going to complain. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
There's a lot of complainers in the universe. So
right.
Especially on the internet. Yeah.
Yep. Let's start off. You know what, KJ, since you started, we'll start with you. We'll start backwards today.
I mean, I guess I'm of the rule of thumb that you can never say enough good things about yourself if you're one of those individuals. But I think, people get overwhelmed seeing daily posts and getting daily emails about whatever you're working on, and it gets annoying. I've been annoyed myself, but I support. You can only support so many people, and you got to pick where your dollars go. And I wish I could do it every day, but I don't have the energy to do it every day. I'd rather pay somebody to do it, honestly, if I could. That's my take on it.
Gotcha. Okay. There's some people I know that I could hook you up with.
All right, let's talk.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So, JM, how do you feel about it? What do you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of two minds. On one hand, I think when you oh man, I lost connection with my camera. Very nice. Okay, well, I'm still here though. I think you can hear me.
We can hear you.
All right, cool. I'll figure out what happened with that. All right, so yeah, I'm kind of two minds. On one hand, I hate talking about myself. Honestly, like I am a talker, but I don't know. I just start feeling. I don't know. I like other people to talk about me, not hopefully good things, But at the same time, when you really have something that you need to promote, you need to be obnoxious about it, and I have no shame about that when it comes to it. Just because I don't like the hard sell. I was just talking to a friend about this yesterday, actually, at the Diversity Con. I don't like a hard sell when I'm sold, so I tend not to do that. I like to make people aware of what I'm doing. And when it's something like my Kickstarter, I mean, I've been posting daily, sometimes more than once a day about my Kickstarter. And if somebody complains, I'm sorry, but I don't care. If you're seeing it too much, then I'm probably doing a good job. That's how I feel about it. I mean, I would probably apologize, of course, be gracious about it. But, that would not stop me from posting, right? So, yeah.
Gotcha. All right, hold on. Somebody, Hero 256 says, yes, as artists, we need to eat probably just as much as kitty cats. There you go.
Cats don't eat much, man.
Yeah, more so because you're bigger than a cat. So, yeah.
Exactly. So, Kenny, how do you feel about it, man? I mean, you've done multiple Kickstarters.
I don't think you can over promote. I mean, I think the kind of thing, and I think especially now, is Facebook and Instagram and Twitter are just burying the shit out of this stuff now. I barely see anybody's stuff anymore. So I feel like if somebody's seeing it and they're complaining about it, that's probably a good thing, I think. Because, I mean, and generally, too, I think that if somebody's continually seeing your stuff, they're probably not the person you want to see it anyways. You want to reach that person that's not seeing it. So I think that, no, I don't think so. I think you could probably just keep pushing it. I mean, with the algorithms and stuff, it's just such a hard thing to beat now. So, I mean, I think I seen yours a couple weeks ago, and that was the first time I had seen it. And I'm like, whoa, what the hell? And I think you'd been going for like 20 something days or something like that. So, yeah, it's hard now. So I think you should just push it as hard as you can.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Michael?
No, I don't. Could you spam your ads too much? Maybe in a day. I would say maybe twice a day should be fine. But maybe before a lot of people will also start reminding you before you start your Kickstarter. So during the Kickstarter, I could see it, 2-3 times a day. Before that, you still want to advertise it, you still want to put it out there, but maybe not as much. That way, when you do hit it every day, it doesn't get on people's nerves. But yeah, sometimes you barely see any. And then speaking of Brian, I only see like one a day from Brian, so that's too much. I don't know what the problem is, honestly. So maybe you can burn somebody out on that, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I just have to get burned out on it, I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I could just jump back in on one thing, though, the other part of it that it's worth promoting it and letting people know as much as possible, because maybe that person has seen it 5 times and they're annoyed by it, but there's another person that saw it 5 times and they're like, "Oh, that's right. I was going to donate to this and I forgot to do it."
The rule of 7. So they have to see it 7 times before they commit to it.
Right.
Maybe they like the post. Maybe they shouldn't like the post. That's it. That's why they keep seeing it. So.
Some people like to just scroll. They don't want to read.
Yeah.
Exactly. Meredith, how do you feel about it?
I definitely have a daily presence, and for anybody who's offended by it, they have a few choices. They can put you on mute, but you could, as a creator, say, "Hey, I'm getting ready to launch this, and I'm going to be like pushing this pretty hard on my social media. If you have a problem with it, put me on mute." I mean, come on. Something that Daphne says all the time is curate your experience, and I live and breathe that. Also, there are best practices. Don't tag everybody unless you have permission. Don't spam groups if they have rules that say if you've got a campaign, only post once during your campaign and do updates. I mean, follow the rules. Know which platform you're on. Facebook, again, with those groups, they have the rules. Twitter it's like a constant stream. So you want to have, maybe a mix of unique posts, maybe fun memes that direct to your social, to your campaign. And then maybe schedule a few out so that you hit those high marks when people are viewing and have a little bit more interaction and impressions. So yeah, I mean, people know what you're doing, but to what JM said, he says people hate talking about themselves. They really do. And that's why creators, they want to stay busy creating, and they don't, they don't do social media well. a lot of times. And so getting out of that comfort zone is hard. And then when you do, all of a sudden your people who've been like, well, you've been quiet and all we've seen is your art and you're not pushing so hard for yourself, they, maybe they're taken aback. But if you warn them, just say, hey, listen, I'm pushing hard. You can push for me or you can put me on mute. That's your choice.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Let me put up a few of these from Trish. Shared all. Hello, all. She also wrote, as a fan and a friend, I share Kickstarters at least twice a day. Thank you, Trish. We all appreciate that.
Shout out, Trish.
Yep. Daphne says, there are just people out there who just want to see art and not be reminded that you also need to sell your stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Right. Daphne girl, I love you. I share your stuff out like 5 times a day. So there you go. All right. So Mr. Joe, how do you feel about it?
Well, actually, I know the parameters of what Mr. Rodman was speaking of. To give some clarity to it. This is a person who is seeing his advertisement on the main feed, not being tagged, not being posted on his wall, not being seen in any groups. It's just part of his feed. To people like that, it's pretty much a tough cookie because the only person that you could blame is algorithm for Facebook. You're not interactive enough where it can sort out those things that you want to see on your feed. That's something that you have control over, not the person who's advertising. So that's something that you have to think about when people are complaining. Where are they seeing it and why are they complaining? Yes, there's certain etiquette that you have to follow if you post on different groups and stuff like that. Like, for example, I have a couple of groups that I curate myself. I post, without regard to those, regardless. Other places that I know of is like no more than 2 times a day. So you have to like really pick out which post you really want to put out there to post in a day. Other places is pretty much a no-go. And then if they complain, if the random person complains, especially if they complain about coming to my wall and seeing it, tough cookie, that's my wall. That's my wall. I could understand if I violated your space on your wall or something to that magnitude, or if I tagged you. That's a little bit different. I have to respect that. But you can't complain about somebody advertising themselves from their wall or from their own group or from whatever source that it is, and it appears on your general feed. That general feed is based upon your likes, your interests, and things that you have clicked on Facebook or whatever social media platform that you're on. So that means you're curating that feed from the jump. That means you got to actually have more interest in the 1 or 2 times of liking that other person's post. Because if that's the case, if you just like the artwork but don't want to be reminded of the fact that he sells, guess what? Click on other things that you like. If you like baseball, click on more baseball things. That way that those posts won't show up. It is exactly that.
Hey, John.
What's up, John?
Hey, John.
How you doing, John? All right, so Mark, before we get to you, we'll see what John has to say about it. Did you hear the question?
No, I didn't. I just tuned in. Sorry.
All right, no, that's cool. So the question is it possible? Well, someone had posted up that he had somebody complain to him that he was posting too much about his campaign and he was annoyed by it. So the question is what do you do if you have these complaints and how do you deal with it?
What did Keith say?
I knew you were going to ask that. This is why you got to be on time, man.
I thought it was 8 o'clock. I don't know why. I'm sorry.
I don't even remember what I said. What did I say?
It's 8 o'clock somewhere.
I don't really know. I mean, they kind of push you to when they're kind of giving you the tips on Kickstarter to really, to bomb their emails and stuff, right? So if you want, I think having it right in there. I think I even read something Liam Sharp had put in one of his where he was like, "I know I'm hitting you every day, but the campaign's only this long. Bear with me," type of thing.
Right. All right, I got you. But Keith, whatever Keith said, it was very intelligent. That's all I have to say.
No, it always is. If it was just me, I'd be like, fuck him.
I think I said I didn't want to worry about it.
Tune in on the replay.
I want somebody else to do it. I think that's what I said.
You said you'd prefer to pay somebody to do it.
Yes, that's what I said.
Yeah.
That's why I came on late. I needed to say that.
Gotcha. All right. Mark, what do you think?
All right, so this is my take on it. You have to look at it at any type of marketing campaign. What are the people? Who are the people that are complaining, and what are they going to do about it? Are they people that have already supported you, or the people who are never going to support you? If they're complaining about it, then it all depends on who the source is coming, the backlash is coming from. I remember when I used to go on the subways, you used to see posters of the same movie or same item tons of times, and I'm like, all right, either I'm going to see it after the first one or I'm not. But if I'm not, then I'm not the audience anyway, so what does it matter?
True. Now, for myself, there was one gentleman who gave a piece of advice on social media marketing, and he said, listen, it doesn't matter how much you're doing it. You probably have to go 10 times more to get to where you need to be, So he says, because no matter how much you do, you're not going to reach everybody. You just got to keep hammering. You got to keep moving forward. So that's the thing. Just keep doing it. And if somebody bothers you, I agree with Meredith. Reach out to everybody. Say, listen, go support my campaign and then mute me. But do go support the campaign, right? So that's how I look at it. Support the. Hold on, what is this? All right, we got this strange stalker. What is the source of the complaints? They're not going to back and they can pound salt. There you go.
Yeah, seriously, if it's a person that's not going to back your campaign and all they want to do is complain, it's like, you know what, dude? Go away. Keep going,
Well, yeah.
Scroll by. Yeah. It's really easy.
And that was the whole thing about the complaint, because the person was complaining that it was on their main feed, which they could have just scrolled straight past and just ignored it.
Well, right. That's the thing. And I have had that happen. There was one ad that I ran for Chadiana that I did. I was targeting the right audience for it, but I guess I got a couple of people that weren't happy about seeing the ad, so they, cursed me out on the comments. So I just,
It's funny they have
rule number one: never read the comments.
Right. Yeah. Well, you get a comment and you want to respond if it's somebody asking a question, because I certainly got that, and I just ignored them.
I think did Jam freeze?
Give a shit if you.
Oh, there he goes. Bye, Jim.
Oh boy, I was going to say, if you don't have haters, if you do have haters, you've got some level of success. That's a good thing.
Also,
look at Howard Stern. More people hated him than they like him.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well,
all right.
I think it's good to make sense so many of them. Because I'm one of those guys who just, I got to do that. I got to back that, and then forget. So I don't mind getting so many.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Some people need that reminder. It happens to me too.
You get it and you're driving in the car. Oh, when I get where I'm going, I'm going to check that out. But you get where you're going, you get tied up.
Yep, that's it. Exactly. All right, Mr. Mark, you're up. What's your question?
All right. Let's see. Do you think that the comic book store now is necessary or even relevant in the world of independent publishing and Kickstarter?
That's a good one. All right. Yeah, that's a good one. Well, we'll start with Miss.
We'll start with Meredith, right?
No, because we're working in reverse.
Oh, okay. So John gets to go.
Exactly.
That's the gift of being late. You got to go twice.
No, actually, that's the first time he's going.
So I like him, and I hate to see him go. On the other hand, do we need them? That's an interesting question. I suppose you can go back and forth, but I like them, and I hope they don't go away.
All right, JM, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, of course. I don't. My feeling is, as many places as you can sell and get eyes on your stuff or people buying it, the better. So, and you know what? People still go into shops. I mean, I don't frequent them as much as probably I should or I used to. But, I was at a Free Comic Book Day at Spider's Web in Yonkers, and that place was packed. There were people coming in and people supporting and checking out my stuff. And, certainly they were like, both the owners and the people coming in were like, yeah, if your stuff's on the shelves, we'll check it out. Some people want that experience, and I think nowadays I think it's a little hard. Like, I think without getting too much into it, I think people are kind of sick of ordering off of Amazon for everything. I think people are going to want to go back in the stores and start buying stuff, So yeah, I mean, I would. The only thing is, I just wish more of the comic shops were open to putting indie titles on their shelves. I think there's a lot that are, and there are some that just don't even want to be bothered. And I wish there was a happy medium,
All right, cool. Kenny, how do you feel about it?
I think they can exist. It's kind of, for me, like where I live, there isn't a comic shop for 300 miles. So they all
where do you live?
So,
wow.
I live 3 hours north of Sacramento in California. So
okay. Wow.
So I live pretty much on the edge of civilization. So it's kind of, I mean, there's like 2 blocks that way. It's a forest for 500, 600 miles. So
wow.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we had shops here, it was great. I used to go in there and buy comics and stuff. But like Jan was saying, like there's not a whole lot of indie comics in those places anyway. So it's kind of, it's I think it's just kind of like its own separate kind of marketplace thing. We got Kickstarter and Indiegogo is kind of doing their thing, and the comic shops are kind of doing their thing. And they, I know one shop down in Sacramento, they pick up indie titles when they can, and try to move them. But I mean that's a tough sell too for people because it's kind of people tend to gravitate towards what's popular, right? So it's a big risk for those shops to go in when they're already on a tight budget and pick up those indie titles to try and sell them. So it's tough, but I think both can exist in that space. I think they kind of both do different things. So
right, they do.
Yeah, they do. Yep. Mr. Michael?
I wouldn't say the comic book shop for indie publishers is necessary, but I would say it helps because you don't have a con every day. You don't have a con every weekend that you can put your books out. So if you do find a local comic book shop that you support and they support you, we have one here that they will actually put your book on the shelf where people can see it. And if you have that, it's don't leave any money on the table, as someone says. If you can put it in the shop, even if they don't want to put it out, you can tell people that it's in the shop and they can go check it out. So I wouldn't discount it, but I don't think it's necessary. It's just another source of income, another source of income.
Gotcha. Meredith?
Did we miss KJ's answer?
Yes, we did. We skipped right over him.
Skip right over KJ. Oh,
Wow.
sorry about that.
Wow. I'm gonna go now.
Wow.
See you later.
I thought he was going to be last, but I was like, all right.
I will pass the mic to KJ if that's okay.
No,
thank you.
actually,
Microphone.
Actually, KJ is supposed to be last because he went first.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
Yeah. Because it was supposed to be, KJ and John were flipped, and then it was
There's still love in the room for you, KJ. There's still love in the room for you.
Yes,
Thank you.
To be in local comic shops, I think is kind of important. It's really hard for indies to break in because you might be unknown, right? Unless you have big titles, popular ones that are doing well otherwise. It gives the indie creators the bragging rights to say, I'm in X, amount of stores. That's kind of cool. Is it necessary? No, but the bricks and mortar stores, there's something to it. You go in there, it's got a smell, it's got the people, you can flip through the books and things, and you have that tactile experience where you can kind of flip through it before you make the purchase. And so I think it is important to try and be in as many as possible. But then I guess my follow-up question would be like, how do you do that? How do you rise above all the other crap that's out there? And there's a lot of crap to say my book is worthy to take space in your shop, but I think it's definitely a worthy endeavor because of that tactile experience, more so than a con, because you have a somewhat permanent space there. Like, how do I earn that spot in your store?
True. Now, before you answer, KJ, I just want to put this on. All right, from Trish, I think a local comic store is important because you can meet and greet. They're just 5x7 pick of your Kickstarter on indie project, cover sign, something special. So yeah, I guess so you can get your books, signed, in person, by the actual, in front of the actual fans, which is always cool. All right, so KJ, how do you feel about it?
I really hadn't been in comic book stores in quite a while, and I used to go to them all the time. And the ones I liked going to were the ones that supported indie comics, like in Northampton. I forget the name of that store there, but they had like a whole wall just of local talent. Nice. And whether it was good or bad or whatnot, it was there, which was really cool. And most of them would do the same thing, this consignment thing, and it's not, you work out some deal. But yeah, I think both are important. John and I go to this local guys. It's almost like a flea market, back issue bin. And I love it because it smells like old newsprint. I get to pick up old books I haven't seen in 30, 40 years and hold them, like Meredith said, and thumb through them. And but that's me. And I mean, it's much easier just to digitally download something and then have it and say I read it. But it's kind of cool to have that limited print. It's kind of like the collector in you needs to have that thing, and some people need to have they need to have that book. And yeah, I don't know if that, there's a guy down the street who just bought a Krausers, and Krausers is like a chain, and they make sandwiches and they sell like coffee and stuff. And I went in the other day, and he noticed I had a comic book related thing on my shirt. And he goes, "Oh, you're into comics?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And we started talking, and he used to own this comic book store up in Middletown, which is like 2 towns over. And he tells me that he's closing that one and he's opening it above the Krausers, right? So I'm coming there for coffee, soup, or whatever. And now there's going to be a comic book store upstairs. So, it's on the way home or on the way to work. So, yeah, it's almost like he set me up to say, "Hey, man, you're going to support me, right?" And I'm like,
"We will never see KJ again."
You're never getting out. You're never getting out.
Well, the convenience of like getting my lunch or dinner and, just see what comics he's got up there for a couple hours.
There's a mattress store on the 3rd floor and you're done. That's it.
I know. I'm never going home. That's so I don't know. I think online presence is important. I think getting with the times is important, but I think there's still this need for this brick and mortar, the actual storefront. Yeah.
All right, cool. Mr. Joe, how do you feel about it?
Well, I think most know how exactly I feel about it.
Yeah.
Remember, I am Mr. Always have multiple revenue streams. So yes, I feel that is a necessity. However, I just got into a conversation with another creator not too long ago, and we was talking about something that piggybacks off of this here, dealing with brick and mortar stores and indie comics. And a lot of times it comes back down to not about the actual books that are being published. It comes back down to the store itself. Why isn't the store going above and beyond the level for their own customers? Because of the simple fact that if you notice, and a lot of people have said, a lot of people will come in for that Marvel and DC book or whatever mainstream book there is, but yet if you know your clientele the way that you're supposed to, and you greet them and meet them and do whatever you need to do, there's always going to be a book that you could recommend to be like, "Hey, why don't you try this out?" Now, finding those type of stores that actually do that and accept indie comics, those are where you need to go. That's how you need to get into those things. Now, I've been talking to other creators, and I've been learning a lot more about how to get books up in there directly through talking to the stores and how to pitch. And I've actually been learning how to pitch to stores from other comic book owners as of late too. So it's kind of like one of those things that you have to constantly massage your actual pitch for retailers. that actually do provide space for new and different independent creators. And once you get used to doing that, you can see a better return in getting your books on the shelves right next to the other mainstream books, and gain a fan base through those stores that actually do recommend your book.
That's interesting. Now, let me ask you. So, what are the differences? Like, what type of massaging have you had to do with your pitch?
Well, the thing that I'm learning here is that when you pitch to a store, you have to pitch your book for a minimal of 10 plus books. So if you only have like one issue, you have to make sure that one issue is asking them to purchase at least 10 or more books, because postage wise, it wouldn't make sense. No matter what your price point is, it wouldn't make sense to them, because once you set the price point to something that's feasible to them, after they make their money back, they still have to worry about the postage. So either you have to cut them a deal about postage for sending books back and forward, or you have to make that package such where you say, hey, I got, it's like if, you give them like your book pitch, if they like it, you have to start like, well, we could give you 25 copies of issue number 1 to put on your shelf to see how it runs and this, that, and the other. And you have to be in constant contact with them. They have to know when issue 2 comes out. You have to be on time with issue number 2. It always, and from what this one retailer told me, it's like, it's always better if you have an ongoing series, start approaching stores when you're about like issue 3 or 4. That gives you time for like an issue 5, issue 6, issue 7, because by the time they get their clientele interested and they pick up the issue 1 and they come back, if they like it, they already have issue 2 and issue 3.
Right. Okay. Interesting. All right, cool. I have to talk to you more about that, Joe. From Hero 2567, this question runs along the same line as digital comic or actual print. I believe they're important, and even more if they support indie comics. And then he also writes, I prefer printed comics, by the way. Then Louise Cruz, what's up, Louise? He said, what's up,
Louise.
guys?
Hey, Louise.
Louise, I got to bring you back on, bro. It's been too long. We got to talk. For myself, yeah, I think getting books in comic shops is important. The problem is doing it one-on-one. I've always find it to be a turnoff unless I know the store owner, right? So it's like having to hand sell to 180 shops, right? It's tough. Like, if you got 180 customers and you see them over the weekend at a show, it's not easy to do that. And then you got to do it to shops, and these guys are just as busy as you are, if not more so. And then, so I mean, so for me, it's always been about distribution, right? So, we have Diamond, now we have Lunar, we have other indie guys coming out, like Liberty or whatever, and these other companies coming out. But the big gorilla in the room is still Diamond. And as we all know, Diamond's lost 70% of their market, right? So now's actually the time for guys like us or gals to approach Diamond to see if we could get that type of distribution, because I guarantee you they're going to be more forgiving as far as, numbers and how many books you're selling, because they lost 70%, So I think now is the time to go for that. And also now the time also try to get in with Lunar as well, because Lunar, they're distributing, DC? So, who doesn't buy DC Comics? I mean, you'd have to be a little bit foolish not to. So you can try to get into as many of those stores as possible. There's also DCBS, which is, I think, one of the biggest purchasers of comics in the entire country. So if you can get on their website, there's a good opportunity. You might be able to sell them a bunch of books through their platform as well. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a thing about distribution, but the problem is making that leap into buying and producing thousands of copies of books. If you can get them on pre-order, that's great. But printing those suckers in advance and then selling them, it's tough. It's tough, or even just, having to print 3,000 and just selling 1,800 of them, you're still sleeping on 1,200 books. On that 1,800, you can make the printing cost and a little bit, and you can probably make $700-800 profit. You made profit, but you're still gonna have 1,200 books to hustle out. And when you're doing that, when you're doing a 10-book series or a 12-book series, that 1,200 adds up, and it adds up quick. And you better either have some serious storage space, a nice garage, a basement. You better have some place to store those books, because it adds up, and it adds up fast. So that's my take on it. Mark, answer your own question.
I think that the comic book stores, as of right now, are not necessary, but they should be. I'm gonna jump on what Joe was saying about having the different revenue streams, and I think the comic book stores need to incorporate the digital world, the Indiegogos and the Kickstarter campaigns into their stores. So that way people come into the store to oh, what's new on Kickstarter? Oh, what's new on Indiegogo? And they can pledge right there through the comic book company to the comic book store. So that way it's a guaranteed sale. It goes straight to the store, and people can pick it up, the physical copy there. That's what I think needs to be done. I'm not sure how the logistics of that would be, but I think that has to be the next step.
Well, you know, on that, and I think I think that's a great idea, honestly. I do have 2 tiers that are retailer tiers. Nobody's taken a bite yet, but I haven't really been pushing that too much. But I am signed with Comics Mainstream as a distributor, so like the money for any retailer tier goes to them. So when the books come in, they get the books. So, but yeah, in conversations I've had, as far as like the Kickstarters go, from what I understand, retailers don't feel like they're supposed to be a part of it, or like they're wanted to be as a part of it. So I think it's like I think it's a two-way street. I think, you know, the creators have to come and kind of let the stores know that, hey, yeah, we want you guys involved in this. But then, yeah, they got to be open to it too. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of stores, from what I'm gathering, just generally don't feel like they're, you know, it's more for selling your books to the direct market rather than, you know, getting somebody to pick them up in their store and sell them retail.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Mr. Joe, you're up.
There we go. Now I'm unmuted. Now,
there you go.
Because you brought it up, I'm about to ask a piggyback question. And Mark opened up the can of worms for this one.
Woohoo, worms!
Yes. Now, the question here is really distribution companies really necessary in this case? And the reason I'm asking that question is because the way that Kickstarters are now, where you can have retailer tiers, where individual publishers can communicate directly to stores that are willing to talk to them. What is the need for the overall bigger publishers, like not publishers, but distributors like Diamond and Lunar and all these other companies to communicate with stores, to be the in-between man now? Especially since in the light of COVID-19 that a lot of books were halted and stalled in 2020 because the distributors couldn't distribute books. That opened up the door wide open for direct communication between publisher and brick and mortar store.
All right, cool. JM, how do you feel about it? You're up.
Oh, you want me to go first? I would. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of how do I put it? You're spreading yourself too thin, you know. And there's still the thing that, yeah, if you're an indie, or even if you're, you know, a mid-level publisher, but the store has never worked with you, the distributor is still going to give them some sort of comfort and guarantee that they can't get from working with you. It's just like publishers that'll only work with agented submissions or represented artists or writers. I mean, does it suck? Yeah, of course it does. Because if you don't have an agent, you're not getting in. But I do understand from the business end why you wouldn't want to work with a publisher directly, especially if you know nothing about the publisher. So yeah, there are some that'll take the chance on the Kickstarter, but I still think the distributor is necessary because one, yeah, they have a relationship with the store, and two, like, I mean, I got to be honest, I'm not calling every store in the U.S. Never mind if I want to get in the U.K. and Canada and everything. Like, I don't have that kind of time. You know, give it to the distributor to do all that. You know, that's what they're there for. Yeah.
All right, cool. Kenny?
What is the question again?
Distributors, are they needed?
Are they need? Okay, all right. That's what I thought it was. I guess that depends on your goals, really. I mean, you know, if you want to go, I think if you want to go on a worldwide scale, I guess that would kind of be, you know, or even national. I think you'd have to have some kind of distribution platform. I mean, I just spent, I think I had on the last Kickstarter, I think we had like about 100, 125, 130 backers, I think. And it took me a while to pack all that by myself. It was pretty time consuming. So, and then, you know, and then that's just packing it and then taking it to the post office and you know, giving the postmaster shit and all that stuff, you know, and dealing with all that stuff. So, you know, they had a new guy down there, so they had to. The postmaster was sitting in the back giving the new guy shit. He's like, "Oh, you got to deal with this shit today," you know, and it was kind of funny. But it's a time consuming process. So I think if you want to not have to deal with that shit and you want to go into if you get a little bigger or something like that, I think that you probably want to have a distributor and do that kind of thing. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm still trying to figure that kind of stuff out because right now I'm like, if I get like another 100 backers, I don't know if I want to do this shit anymore.
All right. Mr. Michael, yeah.
I have to agree with JM and Kenny on that. I mean, when you have it's always good to have somebody else in your corner too, to spread yourself thin. Let's say he has a few retailers. Let's say he has 50 retailers decide to get that retailer package on his Kickstarter. That's going to be a lot that he has to do himself. That's also going to put him down for making his next book, for one. And two, the distributors, obviously, you're not the only book. If they're selling a book to one retailer, that distributor, if they like you enough, say, hey, if you like this book, maybe you'll try this guy. And so, yeah, I would say it's absolutely necessary. It's always best to have extra people in your corner one way or another.
All right. Meredith?
I don't think I really have much to add to that. I agree with JM because, you know, how much time do you want to spend on that? It's one thing if you are crowdfunding and you've only sold like 20 books. Okay, yeah, sure, you can spend the time to do that. Putting together all the packages and things like that, that is definitely time consuming. Printing out the mailing labels, all of it. It's like, okay, where's your time best served? And so if you can find a distributor who can take that off your hands, by all means, even if you've offered like signed copies and things, have it delivered to your house. If you've got like, I don't know what the good number is, like 100 or more, 200, then you want somebody else to handle that stuff. Like take the time to sign them, ship them to your distributor and let them handle the rest, you know? Are they necessary? No. But because we have been allowed to kind of take out the middleman if we choose to, because of Kickstarter, because of Indiegogos, and being able to fulfill ourselves. But a distributor also, you would hope, has like that salesperson or the catalog where they can go into other shops and say, hey, I see that you sell these titles. They're pretty popular. You might like these from the indie catalog too. And see where that goes. And so maybe it might open doors for you that you might not have time to pursue.
This is true. All right, cool. John, before we let you on, I'm going to read off a couple of these. From Daphne, I'm still burned by the time I called every comic store in the tri-state area, and either they gave me the polite F off or outright said if my book wasn't in Diamond, they weren't interested. So this was a few years ago. Mara says, Daphne, your campaign breached 4K. Woohoo. Good for you, Daphne. Meredith says, holy shit, yay, Daphne. Carlos says, Diamond and the distros are the golden path. But if that doesn't work out, you can always go back hand to mouth crowdfunding. So it's a way to grow, but it's not a be all end all for all indie publishers. And then John says, whether or not you have a distributor, you still have to promote your comic by yourself. All true.
Yeah, that last one's very true. Even if you have a publisher, even if you have a big publisher, unless you're a huge name and just by putting it up, like, you know, you're going to sell books. And even then, like, big publishers, you know, they're going to put you on the road and have you guarantee a certain amount of, you know, appearances you got to make. So, yeah, you absolutely have to promote your comic by yourself, regardless of what position you're in. It's, you know, doesn't stop. That's part of the job, you know. So if you want to do it, you gotta get comfortable with that part, talking about yourself, which none of us are.
John, how do you feel about it?
I do remember packing all the books last time we did this, and not all of them, but a lot of them. Keith and I split it up pretty well, and but Keith does, you know, the heavy lifting on the other end. Yeah, I don't really have a problem with it. I get a case of beer and start stuffing envelopes. It's not a big deal to me. But
in your family, you had an assembly line. Your whole family was involved, right?
my wife was involved.
Your kids, no.
They were like, "Nah, that's your thing." But yeah, I don't mind that whole part of it, and I do think, yeah, you need the distributors for that part of it. But I'd rather be writing, right? So you know.
Creative needs to be creative.
right, yeah. But I mean, at the same time, it's a thrill to get all those people pledging and wanting a book. So yeah, I can't wait to get them out to them. Yeah, I could see if I had like 500 people though. Yeah, that would be probably a little less thrilling.
So, possible, yeah.
Well, that's when you got to get a bunch of friends together, buy everybody pizza, you know, package books, and send people to different post offices. That's what I'm probably going to do.
Yeah.
This
the
is
guys
true.
at my local post office were psyched. They were like, "Oh, these are comic books? Do you have any extras?" Yeah, they're really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Mr. KJ, how you feeling about it?
I think it's a numbers thing versus how much control you need to be in. And if you want to be in total control, then having other people involved just doesn't work out, you know? And yeah, I mean, I wish I had something. I think everyone has a really good point about it. And, you know, I think I was of the same mind. I have to get a diamond distribution deal, then I've arrived, you know, but it really isn't necessarily the case, especially like you've already pointed out, JD, that 70% is, you know, 70%, right? I mean, so, I mean, that maybe there's a shift, a change in the wind, and maybe people want to just meet people directly. They don't want a middleman, and I'm okay with it. But if I had 5,000 people wanting my book, then I would probably want somebody else. You know, John's not going to have his wife do all the orders. You know, so
it'd be a lot more than a case of beer.
I guess if it's a good problem. It's a good problem. It's a good problem to have if you get to that point where you really need to make a deal with somebody. And we're just not there yet. I've been saying for years, we need distribution. We do, you know, and until really things take off, we're just going to have to do it the way we're doing it, you know? So
True.
I think we need a better network of comic shops that, you know, the really good ones that.
Well, that's it. You need a list of indie-friendly bookstores that are going to take your book and actually put it in their store, and you know,
and are excited by the creative people who are, you know, shopping at their stores too. You know, turning it into almost like a circuit of, you know, small indie guys going to different shops across the country, almost like a band touring.
This is
that
true.
Could be dangerous.
Yeah, very.
We had that idea years ago to get like a whole bunch of indie guys together
in a van.
Yeah, it was actually going to be a tour bus. It was actually really going to be a tour bus. And the idea we had a meeting. I remember this. This was years ago. So my co-host at the time, Peter Palmiotti, you guys know Peter. He invited a whole bunch of all the indie guys he knew. We actually went to Manhattan. We had a big sit down, and we told them our idea. And they were like, "This is the stupidest idea ever." And that's why we never did it.
Well,
All right.
you know what?
Well, Mark,
you know what one of the other strategies is, and I've seen people do this with bookstores. You got to get people, even if it's friends of yours and family, to go into comic book shops and say, do you have any of this comic by this person? And have them order it directly to the store. Of course, they got to pick it up then too, because if it doesn't sell, like, they're going to be like,
You're in
what the
trouble.
hell?
They'll be on to you. They'll know you planted moles in their store.
But I did. There was a guy I was working for.
Good idea.
But there was a guy I was working for doing illustration work, and he had me go into a few Barnes and Nobles and reimburse me for the copies, just so that I could, say if this book there is that,
I think if you have a huge family, that really works. If you have enough family members that are willing to globally go all over,
Yeah, but here's the thing: we got all these guys on, right? So, like, if I go into a shop and ask for everybody else's book, and you guys go into a shop and ask for everybody else's book, and
right?
No,
that's true. That's true. That's how you build a network. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark. Well, you were. It was your turn. Your turn to answer the question. I mean, you said something. I don't know if that's your answer. But,
my answer is I look at the distributor as like an agent for an actor. Like they can only do so much, but if they want to reach that level, they kind of need the distributor or a really good distributor that won't f up when crap hits the fan. That's really, the agent is what will do all the legwork for you. So if the distributor is not doing the legwork for you, then you need to get a better distributor, or there needs to be a better distributor out there.
Right. Okay. Cool. Do we need distribution? I say yes. I've done it before in the past in the early 90s. It was fantastic. If we had that same system today, we would all be doing much better than what we're doing. We may not have Kickstarter if we had that system in place today. That's how good it was, because you could sell 5,000 books, order it from the printer. The printer would give you a line of credit, so you don't even have to pay him. You just wait until Diamond or the distributors send you a check. You take it, boom, you pay the printer. A lot of the distributors just picked up from the printers. And all of that stuff was just taken care of. It was actually a very good system. Until Marvel screwed it up. Thanks, Marvel. But yeah, I think it's important now. Yeah, I mean, I think creating a network of finding the stores that can help everybody, I think is really important. And I think at some point we're gonna have to get that list together. And there are other indie publishers who have these lists of stores that will help you. I had a guy on, I'm blanking on his name, and he had this list. So maybe I got to reach out, and maybe we have to develop a website where we can all talk to these retailers. The only thing is I got to be honest with you. There's 1,000 of us, right? There's 1,000, right? There's at least a couple thousand independent publishers. Not everybody's going to get in the stores. Not everybody can get into the stores. Everybody has different tastes, so on and so forth. So yeah, so it's one of those things where it's also, you got to deal with that as well. I know JM does quality work. KJ does quality work. Kenny, you do quality work. See, Michael, when you finally get your book out, it's going to be quality. You understand? Joe does quality, so on and so forth. Everybody here does quality work, but there's a lot of people out there not exactly ready for prime time. And, we've all encountered them, and they sometimes can jam up that gate, because they're trying to get in too.
Yeah.
And so, and if the door is only so big, only so many people, only so many bodies can get through it, and it's tough having to break out the chainsaw, to get through, hold on. I got a couple of things. So Daphne posted up, there you go. She's happy. This is,
hello, Dragon.
What's up, Connery? And Carl says the Indie Friendly LLC list. Yes, who's going to do that? See, there you go. So yeah,
I know someone in this room who's working on one.
Oh, okay.
Working on a list.
Yes.
Nice.
All right. Cool. Now let's just hope they share.
I approached Diamond. Sorry.
No, you guys got to hear my answer.
Where's it? Hold on. Let's hear KJ's Diamond story.
He can go. He can go. No, that's all right. I'll go after. Sorry.
All right, go ahead. Go, Joe.
Okay. My answer, and this is coming from a person, I never had a diamond deal. but I've been digitally distributed through Comixology for over a decade. Is distribution necessary for the digital side? Probably so, not as much. But for print, it comes back down to partnership, because I look at the partnership that I have with Comixology the same way that I would look for anybody that does my print. I'm not looking for somebody to do the parts that I need to do. Like I'm the one that's supposed to be responsible for pitching and selling the actual product itself. It's more along the lines of what platform does that distributor has to make it easier for me to get product A in the hands of whoever purchased it, which is person B. Person B happens to be a store. If you look at person B as just like a regular customer, you have to see a distributor just being nothing more than a middleman, and you have to see what advantages do they truly offer you, other than free manpower to take 2,000-3,000 books from point A to point B. Beyond that, it's like, are they really promoting your book? In most cases, no. I mean, we know from Diamond's perspective, once you're in that green section, they really don't push you. So at that point, you're still doing that job of promoting and telling the stores where they could get it in the Diamond book. Just like how Daphne said, it's like if you're not if you're not being distributed by Diamond, we're not even talking to you. It's like even if she was distributed by Diamond, she still have to go to the store. It's like, yes, you have to go to page 257 and get issue. Here's the code and this, that, and the other. If they would be willing to listen to her. And to me, that's more effort than to be like, hey, I got this this retail tier on my Kickstarter, or that phone call is like, hey, here's my pitch, this, that, and the other. We do have a retailer package where I could get you 25, 50, 100, how many ever books you want, and packaging up and sending them to us. Yeah, it's a drag and bother. But if I'm doing the exact same selling to that store, whether I'm in Diamond or not, that's a problem. And like a lot of you said, it's like, especially what JD said, if the system was a lot better, then this wouldn't even be an issue. But I still think distribution is a major problem as it is right now. Is it necessary? It's a necessary evil, but you don't have to really use it, because you're pretty much doing the exact same thing regardless, whether if you have it or not.
Gotcha. All right, cool. KJ, what was your Diamond story?
Oh, nothing. I was at New York Comic Con like 5 or 6 years ago, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go right to their booth. I'm going to just, cold call, just go up to them with all my books in the hand and just say, hey, this is what I'm doing. What do you suggest? How do we go next level? And, they looked at my books and they're basically like, well, look, we can't really help you, but talk to this guy over here because, we think you would fit in with him. So they actually refer me to Tyler James and his Comic Drive people. And I went over to his booth, and I had seen him before. He looked like, from an outside perspective, to really be doing well, because he was, he has a Diamond distribution deal, but I mean, that's only one part of his business, so,
right.
Obviously you have to think about all these different things and, know what pond you fit in, and then who's in the pond with you. And if you have something that's similar, let's help each other is kind of what I got out of it. And I think, that kind of put perspective for me after Diamond sent me to somebody that they thought I was like-minded with, so.
Right. Yeah. Tyler's a cool dude. All right. Here's my next question. I just froze? I just froze. Did I freeze?
No.
No.
You're good.
Okay. All right. So here's the thing that I've been noticing, right? So have campaigns hit a wall, right? So have crowdfunders hit a wall. I've been talking to a number of creators, right? And they're saying it's taking longer to fund. They're funding, but they're saying it's taking longer for that to happen, and to reach their goals, right? So, what do you guys think is causing that? And what do you think we can do to overcome it? I think we're up to Mr. Kenny.
I'm gonna blame social media on that. I think because I haven't been seeing anybody's stuff lately, so that's just been kind of like the weird thing for me. I haven't run into that personally. My last campaign ended in I want to say August or September. I can't remember. It's been a little while now. But I didn't run into that at all. I had pretty much the same experience as the first 2 times I ran campaigns. I had a big surge at the beginning, and then I had a lull, and then at the end I had a big surge at the end, just like usual. So I haven't experienced that yet, but I just have been noticing that like people that I'm like good friends with on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, I'm just not seeing their stuff anymore. So and like at all, which is really strange unless I'm seeking it out. So
Right.
I think that's probably the biggest problem that I can see anyways, and maybe there's something else and some other enemy out there keeping us down, but I think that's probably the big one.
All right, cool. Listen, hold on. Let me just put this up real quick. I jump to any pond as long as Meredith is a lifeguard.
Oh, she's a good swimmer. Huh?
Can I just piggyback off with something that Kenny said?
Go ahead.
When we're not seeing each other's campaigns and things like that, it's really difficult because the algorithms change all the time, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Twitter, it doesn't matter. And part of the way to overcome that is really talking to each other as creators and just say, hey, you're doing a book that I think my readers would like, and then do updates, get in their inbox, do the updates through your former campaigns and things like that. So that you can kind of bypass the social media throttling, because that is really a real thing, and it is affecting a lot of people's income when they're relying on Kickstarter funds to make their comic dreams come true. So yeah, I mean, like getting together and just saying, hey, JD, you've got the Oswald Chronicles coming up. I've got a friend who's doing something that's kind of in the same vein. Can you guys like cross promote? Would you mind adding their link to your updates? And I wish more people would do that, but I don't think they think about that.
All right, cool. Michael?
I don't really know if I could really answer this question because I haven't run a Kickstarter myself. I could take maybe a buyer's point of view on it. Is when several people are running their Kickstarters at the same time. Sometimes you kind of have to choose which ones you pick or which ones you don't. So that could be a factor. I don't know.
So the next question I guess would be is how do you pick?
That's a good question. I was asking that question today to my wife. I said, so is there a downtime during the campaigns or where people are not promoting Kickstarter as much? Can you get into the angle? But from what I understand is when was a downtime last year is now an uptime, and because people realized there was a downtime. So maybe you just need to spam that Facebook more. Maybe that's what the thing is.
It goes back to the first question.
Hey, if you make people tired of seeing your ad, eventually say, "Oh, you'll notice I'm there and I'm selling without having to make the ad." So, but I don't know.
All right, let me put this up real quick. That brain is why I love her and kept her as my partner. I can lick her face. That level of love. Okay.
You do that in private, yeah.
I told you I'm the other woman. Sorry, see.
I'm getting the visual.
That's the last time I give you credit for anything.
All right. So, John, you're up. I mean, how do you feel about it?
We're still kind of new to it. Keith takes care of that end more, but I think what Meredith said was right, and JM has been doing that. He kind of piggybacked our Kickstarter campaign onto his, and I thought, wow, how come we didn't think of that? That's a great idea. So, yeah, we've been.
It was KJ's idea, though. I think.
What's that?
It was KJ's idea, though. I think.
Was it?
Which was fine. No, it was cool.
Did you put the ad together, Keith?
No, he put he jumped on it though. So that's you got to have people that take action in your life, and I think JM's one of those people.
Meredith's idea.
Yeah, I guess.
I think it's a cool idea. I don't know what else you could do. I think the algorithm is kind of screwy, and after a while, you put up enough stuff on your Facebook page, nobody wants to see it. So that's all I've got.
All right, KJ.
I think there's the rule of thumb is either 30 days is not enough time to get people to see your thing and support it, or 30 days is too much time. It's too long. So I think from the Kickstarter perspective, if you can get your project seen in the first few days and funded, then who cares about the dead time? And then whenever it ends, you get more people at the end, because that's what happens. There's this uptick at the beginning, and then you have this hang time, and then you have this increase at the end, right? So does it really matter if you do it for 30 or more days or less than 30 days? I'm thinking if we do this again, John, I might nail bite it and actually do it in less than 30 days and see how that goes. That's one of the things just to make it more crazy, you know?
Yeah, that does sound, I don't know why it sounds weird. It does sound a little more
because it's a month, man. It's 30 days of having to check Kickstarter every day. It gets old for the creator, really. I mean,
well, it's also 30 days or less of constantly, bashing people's inboxes, right?
Well, it's a lot of work. It's like it becomes a second job.
Yeah.
You're like, I hope I get paid for this job,
30 days
Yeah.
is tough.
Well, I mean,
21.
I kind of want to put an earworm in everybody's ear, but if let's just say you decreased the time of your Kickstarter, instead of 30 days, you did anywhere from like 21 to 25 days, but then spent the other 5 to 10 days that you didn't do an active crowdfund on the pre-launch stuff,
right?
So that everybody's excited about it, and so you have that first really good first 48 to 72 hours.
I think our first launch, we did less than a week of pre-launch, and this time I did 2 weeks, and I thought that would help. But if we do it again, I'll probably do almost a solid 3 to 4 weeks of pre-launch, and just to give everyone enough time,
Yeah.
The only thing I could also add is that the algorithm piece. I think when you look at social media in general, like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, they're all great tools, but it seems like, unless you have some kind of leverage to really make them, you know what I mean, kind of work for you. It's only one. It's like a very small margin or percentage of how you reach people, really. It's a great instant kind of thing to post something every day and hope that somebody sees it. And it really helps if someone like JM shares it with a bunch of people, or, and you can cross promote with people that you have good relationships with. So I think that's what I've tried to do this campaign. I tried to do more cross promoting. So.
Cool. Mr. DeSantis.
Well, I mean, this is my first Kickstarter, so as far as comparisons, I don't know what to do. I mean, on one hand, I feel like I wish I was doing better at this point in the campaign, but at the same time, I feel like, hey, you know what? It's my first one. I'm not doing too bad. I've talked to people for years before I decided to do this, just so I had some kind of idea of what I was in for. I do know people have talked about their promotions getting blocked, and with the other thing is, okay, I know this is going to maybe sound a little strange to possibly to people, but I was thinking, well, maybe I don't post the link. Maybe I just put the Kickstarter logo on there. But if Facebook has stuff like facial recognition, I'm sure they could clock a logo if they wanted to block that from people's stream. So, I don't know what the exact way to get around it would be. I think the cross promotion helps. Having other ways of reaching your audience. The only thing I would say, and I haven't done it, I will only tag people in a post that are associated with that post. I have friends that do this to me. Don't do it to me. If I'm not working on your book, do not tag me in it. I don't want anything to do with that. That's not going on my wall. That's the only thing that I would say. Don't do that. You want to tag me in a comment? That's cool, but don't try to eat up my wall space with your post. But otherwise, I don't know. I guess just mix up what you're posting too. Try to post different graphics. Try to post, maybe some behind the scenes stuff. Like, I'm just trying to think, just post like you would regularly post on social media, but do it about your campaign, and maybe that would lead to better success. I don't know. I've also debated the idea of like, and this is not a knock on anybody. Some of you guys are doing like single issue campaigns, whereas I'm doing like a 5-issue slash trade campaign. But you know what? I got to be honest, like, I'm not doing any better than the single issue campaign. So it's like, I don't even know that that's a factor, is like what you're selling necessarily, like the product, you know what I mean? Because I would have thought that single issue campaigns would have done less successfully, just in my opinion, because, you're not funding the whole story, but I don't think that's necessarily the case either. So it's hard, figuring out exactly what the rules are, and the rules always change, so.
Well, just go with this advice. You have to have the right project at the right time. So vague.
Yeah.
It
Good
makes
luck
sense.
with
It
that.
really makes sense. And you're like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense. But wait a minute. Do I have the right project? Is it the right time?
Oh, right. Oh, but this reminds me, one other thing you mentioned, Keith. I don't know if I would advise doing the less than 30-day thing. And here's the only reason why. One of the PR people I've talked to, I'm trying to get somebody involved on the campaign, by the way. But she had said to me a while ago, when you run social media ads, right, even if you're going to have a small budget of like $20, that's all you can afford, right? It's better to spend that $20 over 30 days than it is over 4 or even a week, because your reach goes further. And I have tried out both, and that may be the reason why the Kickstarters all of a sudden see this boost at the end, is because people start seeing it after day 20, So yeah, I just going with that theory, right? With and I've seen it in practice work. I don't know. I think 30 days probably is good, because you're trying to raise the money over 30 days. There are always those people that are like, oh yeah, 6 hours, I got funded. And it's like, I don't know that's necessarily, well, that's definitely not the norm.
It's, you have to have a huge fan base. Yeah.
Right? You got 30 days to fund, so try to fund in 30 days,
I'm dealing with a campaign
so that I don't keep sweating this out.
No, our campaign had 100 backers for the first go around, and this time I'm 2 weeks in, and we've got like barely 30 backers, and they aren't, maybe 20% of them are people that returned from the first campaign. So I'm like, where's everybody else, man? So it's like, what happened?
Look at it this way, and I'm not going to call out anybody on this show, but I haven't brought it. I try not to bring it up, but I was part of the Rosarium campaign, and I had personally gotten 49 backers for that Chadiana book that never came out. And that's all through them. I'm not trying to make it like, yeah, you're not going to get your books on my campaign. You absolutely are. There are things almost more than half finished. And actually, I have a little preview of the cover here with me if I ever get the chance. But so I got 49 backers on that, and there were less people that knew about my stuff. I don't have 49 backers yet on this Kickstarter. And, because you're talking about, I think it was 7 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 2015, the Rosarium one. But I know of people, I'm not trying to call anybody out. I know you backed KJ, but like, there's people that have told me they're going to back, and they haven't come in yet. You know what I mean? So, like, you may have people that are intending on backing,
Sure.
Friday was payday, I had some people that were waiting for payday, just so they could allocate the funds,
A lot of people check out on the weekends.
One of the biggest challenges that you're going to find in any indie endeavor is that you can have the best product out there, but if nobody knows who you are or where to find you, you're not going to sell a damn thing. You know, and that's why networking is so important. Building up your social media, networking with other people who might have a greater reach, and things like that. You know, and to what you were saying, JM, with the challenge of like, why haven't these other people come back for book 2? And one of the things that we've found, you know, when we've been doing our research, is that you have a lot of book 1 collectors who might not be interested in book 2. They're only collecting book 1s.
Right.
All right. So how do you find the audience that wants book 2? So those repeat buyers are like, you know, okay, maybe doing a little research and seeing where they hang out. Who are they talking to? What other books do they like? And then talking to those creators and and reaching an audience that goes beyond the circle that you've created. That's really one of the hardest things that any indie creator can do, is finding the audience beyond the one you've got right now.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
That's a big nut I'm trying to crack.
Everybody is.
Yeah.
Everybody
That's all of
is.
us. Yeah, exactly. If you get to bottle that one, you know, you'll make a lot of money.
But the thing is, it's like if you have, you know, and I'm sure everybody's audience is bigger than this, but if you have 10 people that like it, then there's got to be 100 people, and then there's got to be 1,000 people. You're not gonna cover the whole world population or even the U.S. population, but it should grow exponentially to a point, you know. I mean, look at even big companies that they still have products that have a niche audience. I mean, we would still love to even sell at that level, you know. Never mind like the major products. So yeah, I think everybody's got an audience there, but yeah, getting enough eyes in front of it and finding those people is,
finding them when they have the money.
I promise when I figure it out, I will let everybody know.
Well, you should do when you figure it out. You should publish a book.
A book about how to do it.
Now, hold on. I want to piggyback on what James said, but before I do that, I want to post up some of these. So also, a lot of guys on Facebook focus. They forget that while it can be a cesspool, Twitter is excellent for marketing and pre-launch is everything. Carlos, I do 1 month pre-launch promo, but this time it might be 2 weeks or less. Daph says, we've been putting the link in the comments as opposed to the main post.
I've been trying that out.
And Nita says, network.
Like Kickstarter's a bad word now.
Let me know when it's my
Well,
You
you know what? Interestingly enough,
let me know when it's my time to speak. Go on this.
It's coming. It's coming. I just want to say this real quick about what Jam had said about posting on my wall, because I have a lot of people that they post on my wall, and I do find it a little annoying because they don't ask, they just do it. They're friends. I'm like, okay, but understand me. I will be repaying the favor.
Right.
You will see Oswald on your wall.
So don't get butthurt.
I would rather somebody just DM me about it, but not somebody that just friended me 3 hours ago. Don't do that.
Exactly.
I get that all the time. And it's like, we don't even know each other yet. Like, please don't tell me something.
You get all the notifications when somebody likes the post or whatever the case is. So you find you got 36 notifications from a tag. It's like, okay, this is too much.
I think that happened to me one time, and I just blocked everybody from tagging me. I'm just like, nah, I'm not doing that. I don't want 35 notifications for being tagged in something, and I don't even know what this is.
Right, but I will totally do you can DM me, you can do a group chat. I'm not going to get mad about that, but like, you know, it's why I have to approve tags on my posts. Like, just please don't, you know, unless I'm involved. Yeah, don't.
I just wanted to point out that KJ does have to get going.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Oh, sorry about that, KJ.
No, that's all right. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Wait, you want to tell everybody where we can
promote,
oh,
man.
Promote. John's really good at that. So
really good at what?
All right. Road to Valhalla 2 is on Kickstarter right now. It's up for another week and a half or something, 2 weeks. So please stop by and show some love. Thank you.
Yep.
Wait a minute. But you can still, for those issue 1 people, you can still get issue 1 if you don't have issue 1.
Oh yeah, that's true. You know,
Please back
I'm
Kickstarter.
thinking of no more issue 2s, just issue 1s for the rest of my career.
Right.
There is no issue 2s
Size
anymore.
Issue 1.
Yeah.
See you
So
guys
get
later.
issues
Thanks.
1 and 2. Take care, KJ.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Talk. Yeah.
I'll
Bye
talk
bye.
to you soon. Bye. All right, hold on. Carlos says DMing me your campaign is certain to get it ignored. So,
Joe D, you look like you're about to pop.
yeah, go ahead, Joe. It is.
I know.
Go for it.
I don't know.
Joe's really like, ah.
He's like, I got something to say.
Oh yeah, I got several things to say because I'm listening to everything, but it seems like there's one major thing that was missed. But I'm going to save that for a little bit later. I'm going to start with the original question. People have to realize that Kickstarter is now oversaturated to a degree. We got a lot more campaigns out there just between 2020 and 2021. I mean, there's a lot more. I mean, I think it was like an uptick of like 20% more comic book campaigns out there in crowdfunding as a result of the pandemic. So that plays a factor. And you have to also think about the economy. Now, the thing that I'm just up here just like being antsy about, because everybody's like, oh, network. That's like, slow down. First things first. You have an audience. Use your audience. Use that. You already got people who already bought from you, that already trust you, and everything to that magnitude. It takes nothing to reach out to them to say, hey, I have my new campaign out here. If you could back me, that's great. But the minimal call of action that I'm expecting from you is at least, if you can, post about it or tell somebody about it. That's the fastest way to reach somebody that is cold to you, because if this person already know what they have, that what you're capable of, and you have already fulfilled, and you're a good guy and all this other stuff, and they like your product, they're going to tell somebody else about it. Your rabid fan is the key to all of this here. Your whole goal is to make rabid fans, not just a fan, a rabid fan. There's a difference. A fan will just be like, "Oh, this is cool. This, that, and the other. I'll look forward to the next one." They probably won't say much or nothing to anybody else. Your rabid fan will go out there and tell everybody in the whole entire world, "This is the greatest thing since sliced bread. You guys got to go pick this up." And while you're shouting to your lungs the exact same thing, they're going to shout it even louder for you to back you up. So if you got email addresses to those people who backed you, email addresses from people who support you at conventions, former, you got emails within Kickstarter and Indiegogo where you can send messages. Those things are so important for you to come back and say, hey, even if you can't back, please post. Please tell somebody about it. Everybody's up here talking about Facebook and Twitter and all this other stuff. It's like, yeah, that's fine as a vehicle to put yourself in front of new people's eyes. But the most effective thing is to have those that already trust you start telling them. A personal testimony goes a lot further than something that just put in front of you to say, here, look at it.
Well, that's what Meredith said about keeping the people updated that's already hit your Kickstarter. It's using your audience. So.
Right, but there's only going to be so many people that are going to take that approach. I mean, there's people that will come up to me at a convention and let me know that they like my work, but they don't leave a comment on things, or they don't review it on Amazon or comics. It just, not everybody's going to go and repost your stuff, which, it's kind of like everything else. You just got to throw as many things out there. Yeah, I have fans that definitely share the stuff out, but I also agree with the networking, because there's at least one guy now that I know of, and again, I'm not going to throw out names, but I found him because of the artist he was working with, that I only knew the guy's work for like a year. So I backed his book. And then he backed mine, and I was helping him promote because he was quite a bit under funding 2 weeks before his campaign ended, and I was like, nah, like I want my books. Like you guys got to go and back this book. So I was posting about his book instead of my own stuff, just to.
But that's the power of a rabid fan. He was a rabid fan.
I didn't do it for a return. Like I really want those books. You know, they're coming out in summer. I can't wait for them. But, you know, it goes to the whole networking, but also being genuine on social media thing. You know, like I didn't know that I was definitely going to run my campaign now. You know, and he's helps with a little cross promotion. He's given me a lot of advice. We talk pretty regularly. He's backed the campaign. So, yeah.
Did he make his goal?
What?
He made his goal?
Oh, yeah, he made his goal. It shot up. It shot up, and then he made it. But he had 2 successful Kickstarters at the same. So it goes to this whole, like, seeing a drop-off right now and having a harder time funding. I found out that, because I got in with the 3rd volume. So I got all 3 volumes, which was a nice like $80 plus boost for him when I backed it. And that's the thing. The more books you have, you would think like the more people, like the more opportunities there would be to make money because more people would come in, you know, and maybe they're buying more books. But yeah, I noticed he had the same funding goal for all 3 volumes. And yeah, the 3rd campaign, it was, I guess, he was worried he might not make it.
Yeah. It happens. It happens. You know, that's the thing. You know, you're always going out there because it's very fickle what can happen. We all got to push forward. Mark, you got any thoughts on it before you ask your next question?
I have a lot of independent creators on my Facebook page. And I can safely say I probably only see like 5 campaigns. And I know other people do it, but I don't see it on my feed. And as a caveat, I do not have social media on my phone. I only have it on my computer. So when I use my computer, I'm like, oh, what's going on here? So I'm not inundated with notifications or anything. So that might be part of it. But it's weird that I see yours, JD. I see Daphne's. I see Sam Vera's. And I see Phil Russert. Those are probably the only ones I keep on seeing all the time. So are you actually putting out that much, or is it just that's what I see? Since you're here, JD.
I just thought it's because I'm just that damn good. But no, no. But I do. I know when I am active, like starting tomorrow, I'll post every day, at least a couple times a day. It just could be that maybe I don't know. Maybe they see we talk to each other. Who knows? Like we DM.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean,
yeah, that's probably part of it. Although I got to be honest, Mark, we've met a few times. I don't even think we're friends on Facebook.
I don't think we are.
Right. So that's why you're not seeing mine.
See?
Right.
It's all your fault.
Yeah.
There you go.
Back to exactly what I was saying.
That's it. Mark, you're up. What's your next question?
So you were talking about there's an influx of comic creators. And I want to talk about going to a convention because, as we all know, New York Comic Con, one of the biggest comic book conventions or pop culture conventions, has just happened. Artist Alley was huge. How do you guys find that? And everybody's just yelling out, "Hey, come look at my stuff!" I find it to be the same way on Kickstarter and Instagram. I find it to say, I keep saying Instagram, Indiegogo. So my question is, what do you think would be the best use of your limited time and energy to try to get the most people to your product in a convention setting? So we're putting aside a digital world and a physical world. What do you guys do?
I think Michael was next.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on this question. I haven't been in a convention in that sense. I've been at a table. I have not been at a convention in that sense, so I wouldn't have an answer for you. Sorry.
All right, well, let's go with this, Mike. So, what do you, when you're going to a convention, what do you look for? What do you see? What draws out? What do you say? Oh, this guy.
It's not going to be you selling it. Honestly, to be completely honest with you, it's going to be what's behind you. Like, for instance, I'm looking at Joe D. McPhee, and I can see his banner back there. That's what's going to attract me to your table. you could say a whole bunch of stuff, and you could annoy the hell out of me. I'll be honest with you, and that's no disrespect to people out there selling, but I don't want to go to a convention and feel like I'm at a used car lot. That's how I don't want to feel like I'm being approached by the sleazy car salesman trying to get me to buy the lemon. What I do want to see is quality displayed that attracts me to your booth. That's what usually does it. So that's how I would put it. Once again, from a buyer's point of view.
All right, cool. Meredith?
I just want to piggyback off of what C. Michael said, is that the display is so important, right? I think it's a reflection of your book. If you have care enough to make your booth look amazing, people are more likely to gravitate over there and go, what is this about? You know, have some artwork, have a portfolio if you have one. Writer, it's hard for writers. You know, I'm a writer, but yeah, that display. But Mark, I think I missed most of your question.
So basically, the question is, how do you draw people to your table? Or in Mike's case, what draws you to other people's tables at a convention?
Yeah, you know, so I've done more like festivals and things like that for food related things, and as well as like direct marketing and stuff like that. Comic books I'm fairly new to, but I've done similar events to let you know that it is about the display. What are you putting out on your table? Do you and the other thing is your presence, your personal presence. It is one thing if you're an artist and you're sitting there and you're doing commission work and people can see what you're doing. But as a writer, again, that's me. If I see somebody who's sitting behind their table and they look bored for being there, and they're sitting there and they're ignoring everybody, no eye contact, no nothing, there is no reason for me to approach you because you're unapproachable. So, I mean, have a little bit of personality. I'm not saying woohoo like this, but, you know, maybe you have some balloons. Maybe you have some shiny thing. MegaCon, Mog Park was there. We could find her booth so easily because she had a little neon pink cat that was a little bit higher up. So we were like, if we saw the light, that's where we knew, you know, we knew where to find her very easily. You know, and then once the people are at your table, then it's really up to you to try and sell them. And again, you want to have some tchotchkes. You want to make it look nice, things that they can take, have some affordable things. So maybe they can't afford the book, but maybe they can afford a $2 sticker. You know, something that's got your name and website on it so that they can find you again when they go home and go, what the hell is this? You know, make sure your stuff is branded. That's so important.
Okay. John, what do you think?
I remember a couple of years back, the FUBAR table. You guys familiar with the FUBAR books?
Yes.
And those guys had a great display. And I've yet to see anything quite that good. Yours is good, JM. But yeah, I mean, I think the display is a big deal. And also, you know, not holding your head down, staring at whatever you're doing when people are walking by. Meredith's right. You got to engage with people. You know, you got to look them in the eye when they walk by and compliment them on their shirt or something stupid, and then invite them over to look at your book. You know? So, yeah, I agree. But the display they had was, you know, way over the top, and it was really imaginative. And I think that's the way to go, is to have a real imaginative display at your table. Go for it.
All right, JM.
Yeah, I think table display is important. Good banner that grabs you, that's readable for the people that are looking for you, right? And then, of course, something that's eye-catching for the people that are coming by. With the sitting and drawing, it's hard because, like, I do commissions at the shows. And I'm not tabling with anybody. I try to do my best to keep my head up. But it's a little bit of two things. Sometimes I've noticed at conventions, if I'm standing up staring at people, they won't come by. Well, not staring, but you know what, I'm trying to engage. And then and at those shows, like if I'm sitting down and I'm drawing, like they're more likely to kind of creep up. But then there's other shows where, if I'm sitting there drawing, they want you like up and engaged and everything else. So it's hard. I think there's a little bit of reading the room that has to go on. I think it also depends on the crowd, right? Like I think at a place like New York Comic Con, where so much is going on, I know this is going to sound counterintuitive, but I almost want to say sitting is better because there's so much stuff getting thrown at them. It's better to let them kind of like see your thing. Because I mean, like, what are you going to do? Compete with every voice in the room? At a smaller show, I think like it's much easier than to have a more personal approach. And I think when people are going to those shows, that's more of what they're looking for anyway. They're more looking for the one-on-one and the the experience is different. It's more personal, it's more small and intimate, so to speak. But yeah, I think the display is important. Thanks, John, for mentioning my display. I've worked so hard on it, and actually, sort of what you mentioned, Meredith, I do want to start getting into putting things in the display that are just related to, but not for sale, right? So it's just decorative. I think that can help for sure. I mean, look, if Marvel and Dark Horse and Source Point Press and everything are putting together those huge booths at New York Comic Con and they decorate them and they put stuff in those booths that have that nobody's going to buy, or they got to be bringing out quite a big amount of money with them to buy it. Some of that stuff's just there to grab your eye, and I think that's part of it. Like, you just gotta not necessarily bring everything that you can sell, but bring some stuff that's just gonna catch somebody's eye. No strobe lights, though. I think that would be a little too far. But no, but I was next to a guy that, not strobe lights, right? But very seriously, he bought these little lights that he would shine back at his banner. And I thought it was genius because he's right. Sometimes you get stuck in a spot that's got crap lighting, and if you have those lights, it just makes those prints and everything pop a little bit, So, not the strobes, right? But, maybe a little lighting might help you.
All right, Kenny, what do you got?
I think I agree with pretty much everything everybody said. I think for me, appearance-wise, I think display is good. I think it's like Meredith was saying, is be approachable. I kind of have a problem with that because I look like I ride motorcycles and beat people up for a living, so people have a hard time coming up and talking to me. But I always make it a point when I'm out at conventions to just be talking to somebody at all times. And maybe bring somebody with me that can also talk to people and have conversations with people as they're walking by, because sometimes it's not always about selling stuff to people, but just talking with people and having conversations and just kind of hanging out. And that's kind of how I always do it when I go to conventions. Is just we're just there to have a good time and hang out and talk to people, and the sales will come and stuff like that. So, and just having a good display. Don't go in there looking like you got a bunch of cardboard boxes and stuff everywhere and all rickety and stuff.
Can I just add one more thing?
Yeah.
It really helps to have somebody standing in front of your table rifling through your things, because when you're the lonely soul that's got nobody around and it's crickets, it's painful, and people are like, why isn't anybody over there? I'm not going over there. But if you have somebody that looks clean and friendly and they're just kind of going through your stuff and having conversation, and it's a little animated and stuff like that, people notice and they'll be like, oh, what is that? I want a part of that. It's all in the psychology of people.
Yeah, I was always talking to people.
Even when friends have come up to my table, I'll see other people come up, and then my friends are always like, "Oh, let me move," and it's like, "No, you're helping."
Yeah,
stand a little bit to the side, and we can keep.
And And that
It
was
really
the
does.
thing. It was like, when, again, at MegaCon, that was my most recent experience. It's like going to a friend's table, standing off to the side with their portfolio, flipping through the pages and going, oh, I love this. Don't you love this? And you're looking around and stuff like, yeah. So you got to put a little bit of an act in there. But if you've got friends or family who are already there, yeah, just swing by my table once in a while and kind of do that. So you're not the lonely ass, with the crickets that nobody wants to talk to.
Right.
Plus, you never know what
have-
kind of people you're going to talk to when they walk by. We before the pandemic, me and a good friend of mine, we were at Wizard World, and Cal Dodd walked by our table, and we just started talking to him. Hey, what's up, man? And we ended up hanging out with him for the whole day. So it was really cool. So
Yeah, it's cool.
Mr. Joe, you have a thought?
Oh, I have several, but I'm trying to figure out the best way to put it because it's been a long while since I've been in the artist alley. I'm normally one of the people that have the mirror stuff in the front. So it's like C already made mention. It's like to have the banners, and Meredith already mentioned about the display. And the one thing that people constantly forget about the display, square footage is king when it comes to display. It's one thing. It's one thing to prepare for an artist alley table as opposed to a 10 by 10. And when I do a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 20, I have to put what I consider, how can I put it, speed bumps in the road for people to actually stop. Sometimes your display will get them, but there's have to be unique elements in your display that will catch people's attention. So every so often, like with C2E2, I might bring a video game system, like an old school retro video game system that have Mario playing. Have the controllers out there and everything, and people just be like browsing around. They see the banners. It's like, oh, kind of catch it. It's like, oh, Mario, can I play? Sure. And you talk to them. You'd be surprised of how far. Hi, how are you doing? I hope you enjoy I hope you enjoy the con. We'll get you. Get people to come over to you. You'd be surprised of even if you're that lonely individual sitting there, instead of just sitting there looking lonely. Okay, I'm about to break out this sketch, the sketch cover, and I'm going to start drawing. You'd be surprised because I would sit there and it's like people don't know me for my artwork, but I'd sit there and start drawing, people start looking, and then all of a sudden it's like, here's a crowd. I was like, hey, just let me know. Go ahead and look through the books. If you want to look at the art prints, I would move my stuff over a little bit where they could look at the art prints, where they could look at everything on the table. If you have a question, stop me and ask. It's like, no, we want to watch you draw. It's like, okay, that's fine. Still ask questions if you want to know what I'm drawing and all this other stuff. Engage. You just have to engage. You'd be surprised.
Jumping on the drawing thing, I want to mention that past couple of years, I've noticed that a lot of people have mirrors behind us that people can see what they're drawing. So to get rid of that looking down and drawing, the mirror is up there so people can watch and engage the audience with that. So, Mr. JD Calderon, did you actually get to catch the question?
I caught the question, but before I answer it, I want to share a few posts. From Daphne, I'm hella posting, especially with this campaign. Personality will always bring us to the table. Yes, Mog's booth is how I mapped out the con floor.
Hey, Dwayne.
Hey, how you doing, Dwayne? As a fan at a con, the table on the banner gets my attention, but someone that speaks passionately about their work will open my wallet. Nice. Yeah, we hammed it up for a few of the guys at MegaCon. There you go. For myself, I mean, I'm an active buyer, right? So if I know I'm going to a show, I usually have at least a couple $100 that's dedicated to just buying indie comics, right? And you don't have to call me over. I will come over because I'll look at every table. I just walk by, and I say, all right, let me see. And then the thing is, I've had people hit me with the hard pitch, and I've been just stop. I'll buy the book. It's like, just stop. I've been there. I know how it is. Just sell me the damn book. Enough, and then I'll buy the book and I'll move on. You understand? So it just depends. I mean, like I said, I'm an active buyer. So active with indie comics, so that's what I'm buying. You know, I have very little interest in what the Marvel and DC guys are doing. But yeah, I'll go around nice shop. So I mean, as far as like, you know, what attracts me, good book. You know, have a good book. Don't just have a wall of prints behind you. I know a lot of people, that's how they make their living. I get it. But you know, I'm a comic book guy, so you know, I want to see comic books. You know, yeah, and that's pretty much what it is for me. So,
well, actually, two things about that. One, I was reading an article very recently. Was an article or a post somebody made that, and it's the one thing I've always agreed with. Yes, I do have prints, of course, on my table because they do make good money. But it was just about, and I always felt this way, but it was good to get a little bit of validation on that. It's the short-term game, you know. You're making money up front, but you're not really investing much in your career as a creator by living off the prints, you know. But yeah, to kind of, because I didn't really think of it from the buyer's perspective, which I should have. But JD, what you mentioned is true. Yeah, it's just got to be a book that catches my eye. Like, it's got to be. I don't read every genre. I'm big into horror and fantasy, dark fantasy. You know, no, I don't read a lot of the Marvel, and I don't read really any of the Marvel and DC stuff unless it's a interesting take as a trade, you know, for a graphic novel. So yeah, it's just got to be a cool idea or a cool concept, you know. And sometimes people pitch me on something, or sometimes it's just the artwork that draws me in, and I'll check out the story. But yeah, I just have to kind of like what's there. And unfortunately, because it is the comics medium, right? If it's an art style I really don't like, I don't know that I'm getting the book. You know, like. Right. I mean, there are exceptions to the rule, you know. If there is a really good concept or whatever, you know, I might be able to I don't want to say overlook it, but the art might warm up to me later. I have had that happen, but yeah, it's just got to be the sort of thing I'm interested in. And if you're an indie guy doing like a superhero book, I'm not buying your book. I just have no interest in that genre, you know. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, just to add on that, like, I'm not an indiscriminate shopper. Trust me, I'm very picky. I will stop at your table and look. Doesn't mean I'm going to buy. But there have been times where I've had people where I looked at it, I said, I'm going to buy this, and then I get hit with the pitch, and I'm just like, that's where it's you know, just take my money. I got to go. You know.
Yeah. No,
I don't. Yeah.
I could just see JD just going.
Yep. Yeah. But you know, but the other hand is reaching for my wallet.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's why I say, like, I don't hard pitch people, because I hate when people do that to me. If I like what I'm interested in, I'll buy it. There's only been a couple of times where I told people I'd be back, and I really meant, like, I know it sucks when you hear it, but in fact, John, you mentioned the FUBAR guys, and those guys, when I'm in Baltimore, I got to get a book from them, because the last time I was in Baltimore, I was like, yeah, I'm going to come back and get a book. And then I didn't. I only have their like preview book. I think which reminds me, having something free to take away is always good. I have had people return to my table because they picked up. I used to do postcards, and then somebody that was helping me with my booth mentioned bookmarks. You guys can all steal this idea. I don't care. Bookmark. Everyone that picks up a bookmark is like, "Oh, it's a great idea." Yeah, it's like, use it.
Yeah.
Yep. Take two. You know.
Yeah.
They're free.
Yeah. I'm into trading cards. I hand out trading cards. People collect them, so.
Yeah, and make sure that your website or something is on it, so that people know where to find you. Because again, you know, they have this whole bag of swag, and they go home and they're sorting through it, and you know, like, what's gonna go in the trash bin, and what are they gonna save, and go, oh yeah, I remember this. I wanted to contact him and buy something.
Yeah, this is the front. I got just a nice graphic with my name on it, but then on the back, there it is. You know, email, website. You know, little bio.
Dan's got great bookmarks.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's another thing I just tried to, you know, step up my game a little bit with it. And then sometimes when I mail stuff out to people, I throw a couple of bookmarks in there too. You know, like it's they're a great, inexpensive. Tell them your Mike Mignola story. It's not me. It's obviously because I'm a Mignola fan. So like,
I'm a Mignola fan too, but she's talking about me, and I'm not going to tell the story right now because Joe has a question to ask. Go ahead, Joe. Ask that question.
Oh, you want to 6 minutes here? Okay, cool. I'm going to help you avoid your Mike Mignola story here.
Thank you.
Now, piggybacking off of Mark's question here, how do you let your fan base know about product that is going to be exclusively at the con that you're in? What's the most effective way of doing that? I guess in that way.
I think Kenny was up next, so.
I think you did him already next. I think it's Michael's turn.
No, we did Mike's. It's Meredith. It's Meredith first.
Oh,
Meredith is first.
Sorry.
Kenny did the Instagram the web shuffle, so he moved over.
Right.
Gotcha.
All
right.
Can you repeat that, Joe?
I said to piggyback off of Mark's question, how do you let your fan base know about new products that's going to be exclusive at the con that you're attending?
Social media. Your mail list. Go and if it's something that is like a special print of a book that you've already crowdfunded, send it through the update.
Yeah.
Those three things.
There you go.
That was kind of a short answer, but yeah, I mean, good. Really, it's like the same avenues. You want to like the mail list. Trying to build that up is great. Using other people's mail lists or their newsletters is great. Building that network. Again, if it's exclusive, you know, people are out there all the time. They put up their card that's saying, "Hey, I'm going to have a table at New York Comic Con. I'm at P33 or whatever." You know, and it's like. Underneath in comments saying, "Hey, and there's going to be an exclusive cover, but you got to come to my table to see what it is."
All right, cool. JM, what do you do?
Okay, so this two-part answer, right? The first part of the answer is, as Meredith said, use all the same channels that I would normally do to promote anything. The second answer is don't do a con exclusive. Because if you put con exclusive, and I noticed this way back when people were like printing up like, postcards or whatever with their booth number at New York Comic Con, and I was always like, what happens if you don't get rid of all those at this show, right? And I was actually dissuaded from having any Kickstarter exclusives for the same reason. You can make something limited. Don't make it only at one show, because if you're stuck with copies of that at the end, you're going to piss anybody off that like bought it as the con exclusive to that show. And I would just advise against it. Limited runs is fine. Always call it limited run, special edition, collector's edition, whatever. But unless you're Marvel or DC, you're not going to want to have to move make sure that your whole stock is gone, and I don't think you're going to be able to do it at a show. Just my 2 cents on that.
You make a really good point with that too, JM. Yeah. I mean, because when you have overstock of that because you didn't sell, you had high hopes. Maybe you bought too many books, and then the next thing you know, it's an eBay special, right? I love the idea of having a limited run and just saying, "Hey, there are only 100 of these in existence, and that's all there ever will be."
Hand number them even.
Yes,
that's fine.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Kenny, I think you're up next.
I don't think I have much to add to that. I think that's pretty much probably the pretty standard answer there. I mean, just the regular channels. Using those Kickstarter update things, I think is really good. For anything really in regards to getting your stuff out there. My inbox gets filled up daily with JD Calderon stuff.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I actually get yours quite a bit in there. But yeah, I think that's just the regular tools for promoting stuff.
All right. Cool. John?
I just do what Keith tells me to do. No,
Nice.
I agree with
He's not here to
you
save
said,
you now.
What? What's that?
I said, and he's not here to save you now.
I know, that's why I'm. But I think Meredith was right. I like what she said, and what JM said. Though the only thing I would say different would be those incapable Trump guys that used to do that book at New York Comic Con.
That's the Zindan guys, yeah.
Yeah, those guys are great. And that book is kind of on its own. It's not typical, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the success they had with that.
But they gave that book away for free. That was the important thing.
Yeah, you had to be there. Yeah,
and that line, holy crap!
Yeah, every year, and they just put out a statue of one of their characters, or they're working on putting out a statue, beautiful statue. But anyway, yeah, I think that was an uncanny thing that they got. They give it away for free, only at New York Comic Con.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I got nothing else.
Mr. Lanning?
Obviously, all I can say is if I know something is exclusive, it's from Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. But are newsletters a thing still?
Mm-hmm.
Do people still put out newsletters?
Yes.
So newsletters, make sure you get a newsletter. I'll have to look into that myself, but I don't sign up for too many of them, to be honest with you. But yeah, social media newsletters, things like that.
I'm trying to get better with my newsletter, but the advice I've seen since they became popular, and it seems like they've sunsetted or whatever. Anybody in promotion will tell you, have a newsletter. Have a newsletter. Use the newsletter.
But what the problem that I had with having newsletters in the past, receiving newsletters, is sometimes people just overdo it, and that becomes very annoying, and it becomes stale.
Right. So I always try to do about once a month. Right now with the Kickstarter going, I'll probably put out I'm going to put out a mid level one, like a midway one, and then toward the end of the campaign. But yeah, I try to do just once a month because there's been newsletters that I liked that I signed up for intentionally, and then I was getting like 3 a day, and I was like, no. I don't care how good the information is. I'm not reading 3 a day.
3 a day.
Yeah, that's
you don't have that much news. I'm sorry.
Well, because eventually some of those guys, they're hoping they're going to sell you on some program or something else, and it's just like whatever, man. Like, especially there were a lot of writing newsletters that I had, subscribed to at one point, and I was like, I'm not reading these. This is too many. I'm just deleting more than half of them, so forget it. If I want to go back, I'll find it again someday.
Cool. Mark, how do you feel about it?
I think the best way is to go on independent radio shows and talk about your product. I say this because I have my own show. And I have always invited anybody to come and reach out to me and come on the show and talk about their stuff. And as people are right now on this show, JD is the same way. Go talk to other people that have content producers and have shows. Go talk to them. You might reach that audience that you haven't reached before. And that goes back to the networking aspect. It's not just networking, it's growing your base and your fans. As Joe was saying, you might wind up getting that lick your face fan.
Right.
Who doesn't
and
want
that's
that?
what you want.
Yep.
Though, for what it's worth on the networking thing, though, right? So, I mean, KJ and John are friends. JD were friends. And Dwayne, who's added that comment before, I mean, like, he started out as a fan. He's a friend of mine, too. I do, like, networking definitely is important, but I feel like nurturing like relationships in your in the industry you're working in is also good. Like, yeah, of course you got your work friends too that like you just see at a show, you say whatever, but I mean really, and actually we kind of all are a little bit guilty of that because we're just either working or doing the show. I get it, but you don't just want to develop a relationship just for the business part of it. I mean, you really want to work with people and network with people that you get along with, and you can go out for a meal or a drink after a show, or you can sit down and talk to about something other than work. It's helpful.
Gritting your teeth and networking doesn't work. It's just
right. Exactly. Because if you find somebody that's just like to your taste, like just obnoxious or whatever, it's like it's not going to work. Like you could network with that person all you want. You're gonna hate it.
Yeah. All right. So before I answer, let me put up a couple of these. Damn, not that one. I used to do cards at Casa that really helped break the ice fast, but that's just as time consuming as a plan the table. Nita says again, network. It says radio, podcast, social media audience. The key word tonight is network. Right. And then real quick, I'll tell the Mike McGill story.
All right, because I want to hear it. All
right. Now you've raised the bar high. It's better be good.
Right. It's depend. All right, so I San Diego Comic-Con, I'm in there, right? If you've ever been on that floor, you walk someplace, it's gonna take you 30 minutes to get there, right? So I'm on the other. It takes forever, right? So you got to battle through crowds, and and the floor is huge. So I'm at Mike McGill's table. I pick up a book. My phone goes off. I'm like, damn it. I pick it up. Daffy's like, get to the table. We got customers. You got books to sign. They're waiting for you. Damn it. So I'm looking at Mike, and he wants to talk to me. And I'm like, yo, could you just take my money, please? I got to go. He's from Brooklyn. He should understand.
Right. He probably does.
So
it met the expectation. It met the expectation. Well done.
Okay, but that's
you'll probably get another chance. You get to talk to Mike. Mike likes to talk.
Yeah, I have a year's pass. He's a cool dude. He's a real cool dude. Excellent artist, great creator. Listen, I buy all this stuff. So, All right. So, guys, Mark, you got to answer your question before we wrap it up.
No, it was my
I did.
Oh, Joe's question. Sorry, Jesus. Listen, damn it. Always screwing us up. Go ahead, Joe.
Now, to answer the question, there's only one other avenue that most people didn't mention here, is that's through the actual website and the social media presence that the show have. Like, for example, it's like I will go and show. It's like, I do kind of. And the way that I treat them is like they're variants that we carry around. These are particularly branded for, some are branded for shows, others are not, but they're exclusive for that particular show. You don't have to limit them at all. But the avenue that I was referring to is that all these shows have websites. All these shows have a social media presence. If you know the right people, you could automatically, for free, say, hey, this is my show exclusive. They will display it on their website. They will give you a blurb on like their social media about this, that, and the other. And then you could take their blurb from social media and just repurpose it, and just retweet it, repost it, whatever. Because you saying it is one thing, and then we have others saying it helps out as well. So, like everybody was saying, yes, social media is perfect, newsletter, everything to that magnitude here.
All right, cool. So I got one last thing here. Curate your experience, Daphne Lage, by not networking with assholes. There you go. Yes. So there you go. There's a good way to end the show. So thank you everybody for being here. But before we go, please let's start with we'll start with Mark. We'll work our way down. Mark, where can people find you and your work?
As I always say on our show, just Google It Came From the Radio. We are a weekly syndicated show, actually on a terrestrial radio station as well as online. We're on over 40 different podcast places. You can also hear us on online radio stations on BTD.radio on Thursdays at 4 p.m. EST, Wednesdays on sci-fi.radio at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. EST, and on Indie Volt Radio 6 p.m. Fridays EST.
Nice. Joe?
Okay, you can find all our books on our company store at cgcstudios.com. You can find our books also digitally on Comixology and now on KDC or the Kindle Publishing Direct Marketplace. You can also catch me on my little show here every Saturday evening at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern. Just look for From the Desolate Small Press Publisher. You can't miss it. You see my face, you know you have the right show.
There you go. Michael?
Of course, my tree link is see Michael Lanning. My Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, those things I can't remember what the login is there. So yeah, check me out there. Hopefully, I have a couple things coming up from Arrow and some other things we got planned. I'm excited about. So
Nice.
Meredith's shaking her head because she knows what I'm talking about.
I do. It's good. Is it my turn?
Yes.
All right, you guys, you can find me at linktree.com/MEREJ99. That is my link forest. It's where I hang out everywhere, but also head over to Raging AVC because we've got our blog, we've got press releases, send them to me and Nita. We do that. We share that to our social media network as well. And also tune into our YouTube channel. We are interviewing Mr. JD Calderon for his launch of the Oswald Chronicles. I'm really excited about that. Finally was able to get a pre-launch button out of this man instead of just saying, yeah, I'm going to go live. Right? We only had 2 days. But he's a work in progress.
3 days. 3 days.
It's something. It's not 2 weeks, but that's okay, JD. It's a beginning. So yeah, Raging ABC. Take a look. It's got a link to our social media as well, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. All of them. Do it. Hit the button.
Hit the button. There you go, Jan.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So 2 things you could do. First of all, I am also the publisher at Darkfire Press. So there we are. darkfirepress.com. And like I said, we just signed with Comics Mainstream for distribution. So we're hoping that goes really well. Look for our books. And yeah, we already do our print books through Ingram Spark. So, we're on Barnes Noble and everything. But yeah, the comic shops now we're going to be doing through Comics Mainstream. Yeah. So darkfirepress.com, you can get everybody, including Luis Cruz, who was in the comments earlier too. And then for me, yeah, jamdesantis.com right at the bottom there. That's where you can get all my socials, links to all my books, links to the Kickstarter, and here's a little something for you guys. It's still in progress, but here is the cover in progress for the whole trade. I had a little bit of trouble figuring out like what the overall oh, here we go. Yes. Save the cat too. If you want her to eat, you need to back the Kickstarter. But yeah, I was having trouble figuring out what design I wanted to go with. So thank you to my Patreons, which includes Mr. Drain Farver, who helps me figure out which design to go through with for the back the Kickstarter. Feed this cat. It's on jamdesantis.com right at the top.
There you go, Kenny.
There. Yeah.
So for me, you can just find me I'm on all the social medias. I think I still have a Tumblr account too, somewhere around there. I don't know. Kenny Aitken or Kenny Aitken Art. You could Google me. I come up on the top search on Google. I'm pretty sure still, unless somebody's impersonating me. So, yeah, I'm on everything. So, and I'm most active on Facebook and Instagram, just because the nature of those places is a little more friendly, I think. But I'm on Twitter too. So if you do Twitter, just say hi.
There you go. John.
We're on Facebook, Guildworks Publications, and we're on Instagram, GW Pub, and we'll be in Baltimore next weekend with JM.
Nice. Okay, cool. Well, my name is JD Calderon. That's where you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, DeviantArt, YouTube, all over the place. That's where I'm at, under JD Calderon. Sometimes under the Oswald Chronicles. You can find me on my straight off my website. So thank you so much, everybody. Like Meredith said, I will be on Raging tomorrow with the two ladies, and you know, they will be asking me all kinds of crazy questions that I'm not going to be ready to answer. So, you know, I'll be there. All right. So thank you so much, guys. I'll be talking to you all soon. Have a good night.
Take care.
Bye.
Right.
Oh, one last thing.
Yeah.
There you go. From Nita. Baby steps. Have a good night, guys.